Hi guys, welcome back to Sugar Spice and Rosé. My name is Erica and today I will be showing you how to make a vanilla Swiss meringue buttercream. I'm going to take you from the beginning to the end of the whole buttercream making process, and I'm going to show you step by step how to make it. I'm going to make it as simple as possible for you so that you can follow along and be able to recreate it on your own. If you're interested in seeing how I do this, please keep on watching. So a Swiss meringue buttercream is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to start by making a Swiss meringue, and a Swiss meringue is where you take egg whites and sugar and heat them over a bain-marie. In this case, the egg whites are a medium for the sugar to melt into. So if you were to try to melt the sugar, it would become like almost like if we're trying to make a caramel or something along those lines, if you've ever made caramel. But because you're using the egg whites as a medium for it, it's turning into like a nice little syrup, and then that is what's going to be used to make your meringue. And if you guys can hear the chickens outside, please ignore them. So your first step is to separate the egg yolks from the egg whites, and as you can see, I'm using an egg onto another egg to crack the egg. I hope you all can understand that one. And when it breaks in half, I'm tossing the yolk from shell to shell, which is allowing the egg whites to fall away from the egg yolk without having to touch it, because I'm the sort of person I don't like feeling egginess on my hands. Your next step is going to be adding your sugar to a heat-proof bowl along with your egg whites, and you're going to place that over a bain-marie. And a bain-marie is a pot with 1 to 2 inches of simmering water. You want to make sure the water is not touching the bowl. But then you're going to place it on the bain-marie and stir it gently with a spatula. As someone who has used a whisk whilst trying to make a Swiss meringue buttercream, I feel as though incorporating too much air too early on in this meringue making process is going to be a horrible decision, because I once tried to, speed up the process by whipping in air, and I started the meringue too early and the sugar didn't dissolve. So what I like to do is take my spatula, and you see me, just gently try to stir everything together, making sure to scrape the sides of the bowl, to scrape off the spatula to get all of those grains of sugar. But make sure you're not incorporating too much air right here. And then as it continuously heats, you're going to see the sugar dissolves and the mixture gets a lot looser and it almost becomes clear. And you're going to know that you're finished or very close to finishing when you dip your finger into the mixture, being very careful because it's hot, and you're going to make sure you don't feel any grains of sugar anymore. That means your sugar is completely melted and those egg whites are cooked. Your next step is going to add your egg white and sugar mixture to your stand mixer bowl. Place it on your stand mixer with a whisk attachment and whip that on high. You can make this using a hand mixer, but you would have to make a smaller batch because it will take a bit longer. But as you can see, it moves from clear to this nice white glossy mixture. But as you can see, when I stop the mixer and I try to get a peek, it's turning into like marshmallow. It's like really melty, and that's not the right stage. And when your meringue is truly ready, it will hold a nice peak just like this. It's going to be nice and glossy and a very peaky meringue. That's the best way to describe it. Then you're going to add your cold cubed butter to your meringue, and you're going to add those in 1 to 2 small cubes at a time, making sure after each addition the butter is incorporated properly. And because I live in a hot climate, and I keep mentioning that, I like to use butter that's cold, and as you've seen when I try to squeeze it, the butter is almost like really hard that I can't squeeze it. But because you're adding that butter to a meringue, you're adding fat almost to like a water-based mixture, so it's going to deflate your meringue. That's just naturally what's going to happen. So you're at this stage, you're trying to make an emulsion, and in some cases, and to get an emulsion, you really have to mix it for a very long time. But because again, I live in that hot climate, and even in some cold climates, after you've added the butter, your meringue will deflate and almost look like soup. Do not worry. That is basically what's supposed to happen. So what I like to do is place my mixture into the fridge for approximately 20 to 30 minutes, not until it's firm, but until it's a bit colder. And you're going to see when I add my vanilla, you're going to see that it almost looks split. But turn the mixer on high and whip it for about 2 minutes, and you are going to see a real difference. And when I tell you this is going to look so dreamy, you are literally going to be so shocked. Look at how fluffy that is. That is completely different to just a couple seconds ago. Like, it's not melted, it's so nice and thick. And what I like to do after I've realized that it's really nice and whipped because of that whisk attachment, I switch it out for a paddle attachment. And to be completely honest, this whole process took me a total of 14 minutes from when it came out of the fridge until it was ready. So we're going to whip this for approximately 5 to 7 minutes on high with the paddle attachment, and then you're going to turn that mixer on low and mix it on low for another 3 to 5 minutes. And that's when you mix it on low, that's to ensure that you get rid of those large air pockets, which is going to show up when you try to pipe it or ice a cake with it. But after you remove those air bubbles, look at that creaminess. Are you seeing this? Swiss Meringue Buttercream is just delicious and gorgeous. That is so silky and smooth. Like making this was so much fun, but seeing the end result, that it works and it's so nice and silky and smooth. Oh my goodness. Look at ASMR, look at that. Oh my. With your Swiss meringue, you can use it to fill cakes. Like for this particular cake, I have a tutorial here on my channel where I show you how to fill the cake and how to create a marbled buttercream with it. Or for example, in my home bakery, I use it as a chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream, so it flavors really well. I just add some melted chocolate to this particular recipe. And I finished the cupcake with a chocolate brownie. This is my midnight dream cupcake for my home bakery dragée. And like I mentioned earlier, I used it to create this beautiful marbled buttercream cake. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Bye!